Hi, Ian, you're muted. Um, oh, okay.
All right. All right, good. Sorry about that. I couldn't unmute my mic. All right, so I'm Ian Kusapali. So I'll be the one taking you through the entire workshop, from start to finish and everything. And I'll also give this space so that my colleague Vera can also introduce herself. Vera, are you there? All right.
Okay,
I
looks
don't know.
like we've lost her, so I think you can just go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I think maybe somewhere down the line she'll introduce herself. So she's going to be the one helping me handle like the questions and answers and just also talking to you guys directly as I'm presenting. So yeah, no code AI chatbot. Um, Something that when I was creating this whole thing, because for some of you might know that we actually had a poll. So we were trying to find out whether people would want a coded session where I teach them how to code and these AI chatbots, or just have something that has no code at all. And a lot of people preferred something without any code. And I asked myself, why? Why are people choosing things without any code? Why is it that this is something that more people are interested in? And the word that came to my head was fluff. So what do I mean by that? The thing about the technical space is it seems very scary because they use a lot of fluff words. For example, even in AI, there's this thing called RAG. It's called RAG, re-augmented. I think I forgot the abbreviation, but the smallest, in the easiest way possible, is just basically giving data to an AI. Of course, it's not that simple, but it's basically within that realm. So in AI, I mean, in the tech space, we use a lot of technical languages and all that, and it makes it very difficult for people to cope and then really understand what exactly the material is trying to say, and people just give up. So when I was creating this course, and I mean this workshop, and even going forward as well, as we improve our courses on our platform, that's what we're going to do our best to do, is to reduce and basically avoid a lot of fluff and basically help you guys understand to the most simplest way possible what exactly is going on. We're trying to make this accessible because we cannot avoid the way things are going. So, uh, so going forward in today's workshop, I cannot just jump in and then start explaining all these things that we're doing, because eventually would have to work with tokens and would have to work with prompts and all those things. So I have to introduce it to you guys. I have to make it at least more palatable so that you guys can understand. So we're going to start with more or less a foundational stage. So the first stage is just the introduction. What do I mean by AI and like no code chatbots, and understanding AI chatbots, the technology lifecycle, and like the opportunities that are there, because there are a lot of opportunities that we are honestly going to miss if we don't take advantage of them right now. Introducing prompts, no code AI tools, what other tools are out there, and then at the end of it all, that's when I'll give you at least us getting started and what we're going to use going into when we're building these no code AI chatbots. So yeah, why are we here? truth is, chatbots are changing the industry. We can no longer say in the next 5 to 3 years that you're a competitive industry if you're not embracing AI in their chatbots and all these automations. Because as much as we might want to believe that, oh, our jobs are not going to be replaced, or some of these things, or AI is not going to impact us. It will. Truth is, it will. At one way or another, it's going to impact you one way. Like at some point, it's probably going to impact people. And the beauty about where we are right now, and I think I'll explain it a bit more as we go down the line, is that we're still in the early stages. Not a lot of people really understand what's going on. So the reason why no-code tools are also the best tools for you right now is, well, they allow anybody to build. You don't need to be that technical. You don't need to learn how to code. You don't need any of these things. You just basically have to add in the time and just understand what is going on, and anybody can build it. You don't need to take any special technical course and like build so many projects for you to just understand the concepts. So like today, like I said, we'll learn a little bit more on what AI chatbots are, understanding the power of prompting, because, well, as much as for those of you who have used these AI platforms, you know that you have to actually prompt and add in questions and all those things. So like when you're interacting, for example, with ChatGPT, you put in those queries or whatever you want to find out. That's essentially prompting. So there are different types of prompting, especially when you're building AI chatbots that, yeah, that you need to consider, that you need to at least have an understanding and have a good foundation of what those prompts are. And then you can build something more efficient, especially as you see, because building AI chatbots can be a bit costly, especially if you don't understand the basics of like prompting and all that. So yeah, then the rest is just exploring different chatbots and building and getting a little bit hands-on for today. So why are chatbots important? So nowadays, I mean, if you think about it, companies and organizations and businesses, they have to essentially like that they're not technically 24/7, because people at some point they have to go home, they have to do all these things. So imagine imagine if you're more global, right? Maybe you can talk about maybe hiring people in those specific areas, but then it's not as cost efficient as well. So if you have an AI chatbot that basically knows your company inside and out, it means you have an employee that doesn't sleep. You have an employee that can answer any other question, any other prompt, 24/7, 365, does not need to rest. And as much as we might want it to be something else, but they are cheaper than hiring people to do these jobs. They are much more cost efficient, you know? And at the same time, all you just need to do is just train them, and all they just do is regurgitate what you've told them. So having a machine that can always tend to your customers whenever, and it doesn't matter whether employees are busy or not, that is a really big competitive advantage. And that's why I thought that maybe if we can have this, it would be great. And the fact that you can also personalize it. So for those who might not know, you can actually create, for example, the way ChatGPT is, you can actually create your own specific ChatGPT for you that knows everything about you, that knows your prices, that knows what time you're open, that can even help with deliveries, that can even help with keeping inventory, all those things. You can actually have your own ChatGPT that can do all that. So in this workshop, I'll take you through how you can actually build something that is more personalized to you, your business, and whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be you and your business. You can take what I'm teaching you today to be something where you can actually monetize. You can sell it as a service if you want to. And people are doing that already. These no-code options are able to gain people in the US thousands of US dollars just for these no-code options. And And I do not want people to miss out on this. So the current industries that are using these platforms right now, we have e-commerce. I believe that should be Amazon, if I'm not wrong. I believe they've adopted that. And we have some healthcare, finance, and education. Education, so basically for tutoring and all that. And actually, it's something that hopefully real soon at YAM, we're also going to be adopting as well. So yeah, just for AI tutoring and like such platforms as well. So it'll be more cost line. It something that you guys should know, AI as of the way it is right now cannot technically replace a person. It cannot technically replace the staff that you have, but it requires you to have less staff. So if it was, for example, for marketing, right? Instead of having 20 people, you might just need one to manage the system. It can send emails or create posts and do all those things just by having one person who manages the system. So that is where I feel like as people, we really need to be aware of and really need to wise up on that. That's where the things are going, you know. So if you can be that person that can just manage everything and you're not left behind using the old technologies, you're able to adapt quickly. And as things evolve, as industries evolve, you'll be on top of it and you will not be left behind. So the technical adoption life cycle. So I thought this was important for us to understand where exactly we are in terms of the space, where exactly we are and where exactly things are going. So in the adoption of technology, it always follows the same exact trend. It's always going to follow the innovators. So innovators, we can talk about like the Sam Altmans and OpenAI, where they brought in the ChatGPTs. So this was where they just launched it up to the market, and then they were just trying things, and then, oh, look, all these people seem to be so interested in what was going on. So that's like the early phases and all of that. Um, so that's where, you know, like the beginning phases of trying things out actually comes in. And then we have the early adopters. So the early adopters basically are companies that, oh, they're interested. So like Microsoft and everything, they're interested in what they're doing, and then they like to try that and basically try to get into that phase into that new technology before their spaces before things run away from them, you know. And then in the middle here, this is a chasm, right? So the chasm is basically a stage where most companies try to avoid. They try to avoid the chasm because the chasm is where after everything, after trying out things, after seeing things work, most tech products kind of end up here in the chasm where they just fall out of existence. But if they can just pass through this chasm, now you have the third the early majority where now things are starting to ramp up, a lot more people coming in and whatnot. Then you have the late majority, and then the people that are basically lagging behind, that are behind everything, right? So as of right now, we're in the early majority phase, around between early adopters and early majority phase. So the beauty about this is that there are not a lot more companies are a bit more skeptical about whether they can really use AI and whether it's something that can help automate things and whatnot. So it's amazing because as people that are trying to adopt and get into this space, it means that all you would have to do all you would have to do is establish yourself as somebody who does work on these things, who can create projects, and you can pitch yourself, and yeah, and you can basically bring in more business to you, and as well, and also help you like adopt, help other companies adopt, and you would basically be maybe the authority amongst other people who actually work on AI projects. So no code development is still in its early adoption phase. As of right now, not many companies are really going for the no code, for the no code options. Not just no code, but just AI in general. So right now, I'll show you how this is something where how this is something that a lot of people, because people think that as long as you know how to code, then it's going to be something fantastic. It's going to be it's always going to be something that is it's always going to beat something that does not need code. But truth be told, these no code options are actually more powerful than people think. And I would argue to say, as the way things are right now, maybe 60 to 70% of businesses need the no code options. So the key takeaways, the key takeaways is you're not late. The industry is still evolving right now. These those who start learning now, there'll be the early advantage movers and things like that. And by mastering this space, you'll make sure that for you, by the time a lot of people are catching on, for you, you'll be at a really good place. So what are AI chatbots, right? AI chatbots. An AI chatbot is an AI-powered conversational agent that simulates human interactions. So the same way I'm talking to you, I might as well be an AI chatbot, the same with infinite knowledge and things like that. And how do they work? It's simple. I mean, for those who are, for most of us, I think we already know, simple text input, and then it gives you an output. But of course, there's a little bit more logic behind it. But yeah, that's mostly what how it usually happens. So uh, so like the two types of AI chatbots are rule-based chatbots. So rule-based chatbots. So if you think of WhatsApp, the way WhatsApp is right now, if somebody has a business and they're trying to interact with the WhatsApp business, you text them, they'll give you some generic answer. Oh, you have reached who's this and that. Please tell me what you're looking for and whatnot. Those are rule-based. So you give them conditions. So this rule, you do this. When somebody does this, you do this, But then you also have the AI-powered chatbots. So the AI-powered chatbots are a bit more conversational. All you just need to do is basic train them, give them some information, and then they just run with it. They feel like you're talking to a person, and it's much more easier for most people, to interact and pilot and all that. So now we're going into prompting, okay? So prompting is basically how we interact with an AI chatbot and to generate a response. So the types of prompting, we have direct prompting. So whether you just ask a straightforward message, a straightforward question, what is the weather today? That's a direct prompt. A context prompt. So technically there are two types of prompting. There's the direct prompt and then there's a conversational prompt. So conversational prompts are more like the way it just sounds. You're having a conversation, right? So here you have the direct prompting. So whether you're just asking, it's something that where you're just looking for a straightforward answer, but then conversational, and then conversation is when you'd have a more or less interaction type of prompting. So the first one, as we've seen here, is contextual prompt. So keeping track of the past interactions. So this one basically keeps all the history, and then you have this conversation. For those of you who have used even Gemini, Google Gemini has that sort of functionality. So it keeps the old conversations, and then the new ones keep flowing as well. So, and then now you have a few short learning prompts. So this one is more or less like, okay, you're trying to get an answer from an AI chatbot, right? And it's not giving you the right answer or the right phrasing or the right paragraph or whatever you're looking for. So you give it example, you basically guide it, right? You try to direct it into the space that you want it to be. So that's what few short learning prompting is. You try to train it for it to give you that answer. So as we go along with this, we're going to use basically all three types, but then a lot more on the contextual prompting and the few short learning prompting as well. So that's basically what we're going to use as time goes on. But you start to learn to understand, because the truth is AI is not as smart as you think it is. It is pretty dumb. So you kind of have to really enforce it, teach it like, okay, no, this is what I'm looking for. I want you to give me examples like this. I want you to teach people like this. I want you to give me answers like this, you know? So that is basically what we're what we're going to be doing, and you'll start to a little bit to understand a little bit more, especially when we're dealing with different types of the different types of the AI chatbots and everything. So best practices, like I said, AI is dumb. It's not as smart as we think it is, not right now. So that's why AI is still not, it's still not as this or at a very scary stage. So all it does right now, you should really think of AI right now as, I know I'm oversimplifying, but really think of AI right now as an advanced version of your completion keyboard. You know, when you're typing something and then it suggests, it gives you a suggestion of what your next word will be. AI basically does the same thing, but at a more advanced level. So it does not necessarily think for itself. It just predicts that, okay, since he's asking for this, he's probably looking for this type of answers. So that's the way you should more or less think about it. So if we're thinking about it that way, we need to make sure that we're clear. Whenever we're giving it prompts, whenever we're trying to give it something for it to give it back, we need to be very clear. You know, we need to provide context when it's needed. Give it a place for it to understand from where you're coming from, you know? So, and also experiment with different phases as well. But something that I should have also added on this one on prompts is I'll update it when you guys are receiving your slides, is you need to make your prompts as short as you can possibly make them. Because as you learn a little bit more, it becomes the more you feed the AI chatbots, the more expensive it becomes. So that's something that we need to make sure that we're a bit more covered. Yes, now tokens. What is a token? A token is the smallest unit of text an AI model processes. So I want you guys to think of tokens as Legos, right? So for Lego pieces, you should think of it as Lego. So when you have Lego pieces that have already been assembled, right? You have already created whether it's your car or a house from the Lego pieces. That's like your entire paragraph that you're giving the AI to process, right? So what it does is it takes your house, right? Your paragraph, your Lego pieces, and breaks them down into the smaller chunks of Lego pieces, right? So that it can better understand what you're trying to do, what you're trying to say. It does not necessarily understand your entire paragraph, but it needs to find it needs to break it down to a way that is that is easier for it to understand. So it breaks your entire house down into the smaller Lego pieces, and then so that it can easily understand exactly what you're trying to say. So so another thing that you should also think about is technically it's not as straightforward as saying one word is one token. It's just the way it calculates from the research that I've done. It does not seem to have like a specific way that it calculates its tokens, but the tokens can be one word, the token can be one letter, it can be one symbol, depending on however it processes. So the more tokens that you have, for example, in a paragraph, the more processing it needs, right? And that's the way these companies charge. So you will see as we go through the platform that we're going to use, is they do give us limits to say, oh, okay, since you're using, because we're going to use a free version, I want all of us to be able to work with it and interact with it and everything. So we'll be given a limit of 100,000 tokens. It sounds like a lot, but it really, as time goes on, you'll realize that it's not that much. So that's the way I would really want you guys to think of tokens. So tokens are just basically building blocks to your entire prompt, your entire conversation. I hope it's something that you guys understand from there. So AI models break text into tokens for processing. Before processing, it has to break them into tokens. More tokens mean higher cost and processing time. So just like anybody else, if I'm sending, if I send, for example, my girlfriend, I love you, she would get that immediately. But if I send an entire paragraph explaining how much I love her, it'll take longer for her to read and then understand, but then it's the same sort of idea. So the more tokens you feed it, the more information you give it, the more time it will need to process, and the higher it's going to work, and the higher the cost, So here, for example, a sentence that says, I love coffee, it will be split into several tokens. So the first one is I, and then second one is love, and then third one is coffee, and the last one is the exclamation mark. So those are 4 tokens already. So like what I've said, like maybe we'll be given a limit of 100,000 tokens. So just by saying I love coffee, already 4 tokens are gone. So you really tend to realize. So tokens it's not like only a one-way street, like the information that you give it and then what it feeds you, it's both ways. So the more information that it has to give you, that's also a little bit more tokens that it has to use, but it's more on the prompting side. The more information that you give it, the more tokens you're using. So why do tokens matter? It affects costs. So that's why I was saying we really need to keep our prompts a bit more concise. So the more you add in more tokens, the more expensive it. So we really need to mind our tokens. We really need to mind the sentences that we're giving this chatbot. We really need to understand, like trying to make sure that we keep our costs down. So even when you're working with an organization, they have a budget, right? So you cannot really just exceed your budget just because the prompts that you have given the AI chatbot there's just so much. And already maybe just by one customer reaching out, you're already using 500 tokens, or you're already using 2,000 or 10,000, that doesn't make sense. That for them, it's now less costly. So you need to be a little bit more aware of that. It influences speed. So the more tokens, the slower the response. I think I explained that with the girlfriend analogy. So you just really need to make sure that the prompts are as simple and straightforward as possible. It impacts accuracy. So here is a trickier thing that it's something that I'm going to teach as time goes on. It impacts accuracy. So the least tokens that you can give a prompt, or the shorter your prompt, the more vague the AI has to be. That is the trickier part. The shorter the prompt, the more vague it has to be. So because it doesn't have all the information that you are trying to tell it, right? So it will have to maybe, if you have ever heard of hallucination, so like hallucinations, because the AI chatbots also do that. So they have to hallucinate and give you fake answers. If you have ever used it, ChatGPT and everything, and you'd have those situations where ChatGPT would give you a fake answer. Of course, now it's less than it used to be, but it gives you an answer that doesn't exist, or something that you're like, nah, this is not true. that's the same sort of concept, you know. So the less accurate you are in what you're telling it, or the least information that you give it, the more it would have to hallucinate. But then you'd also have to balance it, knowing that if the more tokens you add, the more expensive you're making it, you know, you're making your system, you know, because you'd have to add several prompts as we go into building this. So the more expensive you're going to make this chatbot. So we really need to find a way to really make it balanced, to really to balance everything. So as we're building the prompts, there'll be maybe an overall guideline that I'll also add. So there'll be extra notes as well, and a step-by-step guide on how to build everything as a sheet of paper, like basically how to build the entire system. But I will share that with you at the end of everything. But there'll be an overall sort of guideline that you have to adhere. That would make it a little bit easier, but it's still that's still a little bit tricky, just to make sure that you're the most as cost efficient as possible, no? So yeah, now just a comparison between no code and a code-based system. So the features of the first feature we can talk about, ease of use. Yeah, the no code option, what you're going to see from this is just simple drag and drop. You take a text box, you put it here, you give it a prompt, you tell it, oh, okay, this is what you're supposed to answer, and then the user is supposed to give you something else, and that's it. The other one, it requires you to actually learn programming and coding skills, which do take a little bit more time, but they do have it does have its own advantages. Quick to build. So the no code option is quick to build. You will see with tomorrow. Today, of course, we'll get it will get a little bit hands-on. See with tomorrow, it will be a bit more a bit easier for you to understand. Like, you will see how easy it will be to build the entire system. And it takes more time to build a coded system. Well, obviously, because you actually need to write the code and import a lot of things, libraries, and all those things. So it becomes a bit complicated from there. Yeah, customization. So here's the other tricky part. So the bigger the organization is, and the bigger maybe the organization might want to be, or the bigger the project, the more limited you are in customizing, right? So the no-code system is so narrow in a sense where it can only allow you to develop or customize everything based off of what the platform allows you to do. So you will see, even with the platform that I'm going to use, you cannot necessarily just build anything that you want. You're limited to what the developers said you can do, you know? So there is that side. But the coding side, well, you have full freedom. You can build whatever you want. You have no limitations. And I know that. And the other point here is also cost as well. So in the long run, code-based systems are usually more cost effective because they have to jump through much less hoops than these no-code options, since there's a lot of you have to pay for the platform that you're working on, and also maybe the tokens and things like that. So they become slightly more expensive, but the initial upfront cost is more expensive when it comes to a fully coded system. So the good thing about no code options, like what I've said, is maybe about 60% of businesses that are still trying to get into no code option, it would be great for them. They do not need something that big, that's scalable right now. It would be great for them. It would be simple and straightforward project that they would need. As long as you're able to answer most queries, you're good. The coding options are better for like large organizations and people that need a lot more customization and all that. The key takeaway is that no code is great for rapid prototyping and some business use cases. So as well as being used for some specific businesses, you should also know that no code options are really good for prototyping. Whenever you just want to have something to demo, no code options are really good for that. Okay, so these are some other platforms that you can look into. We have Dialogflow, that is for Google. There's an AI-powered chatbot and everything. We have Landbot. We have all these different platforms. We have an open source framework that's BotPress. And then there should also be somewhere Langflow, but I think I didn't add it. These are the other no-code options that you can look into. But the one we're using will be VoiceFlow. VoiceFlow mostly because VoiceFlow is a simple drag and drop system. The other ones are, but yeah, the other ones are as well, but this one, yeah, also has a simple drag and drop system. It has pre-built AI concepts, components, so it's not that difficult for you to get started. You already have things that are already working there and you can just customize it from there. They have a free tier option, so it's easier for you to experiment and build and maybe even demo to potential clients and all that. So it's a bit more scalable and it's a bit more modular, so you can add different components. So as you see, as time goes on, that we're also going to add in like Google Sheet for the platform that we're going to build. And yeah, you at least learn a little bit more from there. So yeah, it's something that will really help. For example, if you have, I mean, when you have businesses and they have all these products in their listing, so you'd have this Google Sheet and you'd have all the products listed from there, and then from there on, you can prompt the chatbot. You can answer questions from the Google Sheets. It's much easier to build things that are like a little bit more modular when you're using VoiceFlow. Yeah, so this is basically the end of like just like the intro. So let me just take you through, yeah, let me take you guys through the project that we'll be working on and just also the platform that we're going to be using as well. Just give me a second. So I hope you guys can see this. So it's still loading. Okay. So what we'll be building, I think that's mostly tomorrow, will be the Yam Coffee. So the idea behind this is that it's a coffee shop where we'll be selling different types of coffees and everything. So in here, this is where we're going to add our AI chatbot, where we're going to be able to interact with it. Actually, yeah, you just like here, your agent, this is still, I haven't added it in yet, but your AI agent, you'll be able to interact with it and add whatever. As of right now, I can say whatever it is, and it's not going to respond. But we'll make it respond. We'll let it, we'll ask it different questions, and it should be able to respond, and it should be able to, for example, help you order coffee if you want it to be delivered, or if you're feeling, for example, oh, right now I feel tired. I want you to give me an option. What type of coffee can I have if I want to work throughout the night? So it'll be able to give the customer options to say, okay, from what we have, from the coffees that we have, these are the options that I would say you can drink, and then give all the different options and the different prices and all that. Let me take you guys through. Let me take you guys through the platform that we're going to use. All right, so the platform that we're going to use is VoiceFlow, like I already alluded to you guys. So the beauty about VoiceFlow is it's a very simple and straightforward platform. So for example, if I was to choose this basic template, it's taking some time. Yeah, customer support. Select this, and it would have. Just wanted to show the way the layout would be, the way the layout will look. Sorry, I think my internet is a little bit slower than my thought. But yeah, it's okay. But yeah, it's from first glance, it looks a little bit more complicated than it actually is. You'd have the different boxes, and yes, right here. Yeah. So I'll teach you guys basically how to build this entire layout like this, but for the coffee shop, and you'd be able to test and run it, and it will be able to give you different options from there. You'll be able to give you different options from there. So hi there, customer support, how can I help you? And then, but then this one will be a little bit more advanced, like we said, adding in AI where it will be able to respond based off of the shop, the business's description and things like that. So yeah, that would be like the most. This thing is a little bit. Thing is giving me a little bit of some issues, but it should have shown up a little bit better here. But yeah, this is where this would be basically our building blocks. This is where our building blocks will be, and I'll show you the actual drag and drop, adding in the AI agent, how we're going to train it to let it know that, oh, okay, this is what we're talking about. This is the coffee shop, and it should be able to give responses to a customer the way you would think of somebody at the help desk, or somebody that is always there to answer. It will give you actual human responses. We can even make it a little bit more personalized and tell it, to give you situations where it's giving you a lot more just to give it that human interaction, that human feel of different things. So tomorrow I'll also teach you basically everything, what the knowledge part is. So here, basically, where you're going to teach the chatbot itself, give it your context about you and everything, where that is going to be. We're going to learn into like the different integrations that you can add to this. So yeah, I know I said that there's basically no code, but this is like the only code you're going to see. I promise. It's a very simple copy and paste type of code, and then we have for those who will stick with us in our platform, because I cannot teach you guys just right here, right now. We can talk about API keys and how you can integrate it into VoiceFlow, and basically you can even train VoiceFlow to, for example, collect news and create posts for you. It's something that is very possible, and people are actually doing that. You cannot limit the platforms that are here with just businesses. Any other platform, you can use it for whatever you feel like you can. You can even, as maybe we'll allude with some other workshops and everything, but you can even integrate VoiceFlow with phone calls. It can be able to call customers for you, answer phone calls for customers, give them prompts, give them responses, and you'd have that interaction with just the AI chatbot without having to have anybody on the other end to answer any of the calls. It's very possible, and people are doing this without even writing any line of code, So these tools are very, very, very powerful. And if we can find a way to leverage and use them right now while they're still fresh, while they're still young, while most people don't know about this, because just recently I was also having I also had like a meeting with the people from VoiceFlow. So they have these meetings every once in a while, and I swear to you, though, like maybe 20 people are just attending that. So meaning, think about it globally or worldwide, just 20 people are using this powerful tool. That means there's a big space for you guys. There's a big space for you guys to use this tool. If you want to use this for monetization for yourself and like pitch it to other businesses, if you want to integrate it to your current workspaces, that would be, that's also very possible. But just by just using this platform, just simple drag and dropping, and just simple drag and dropping, and you have created this AI chatbot that is basically able to give you all the responses that you can ever need, and also give you analytics. So the beauty about it is, even with phone calls and emails and whatnot, it can still collect information, maybe customer's name. It can still collect customers' phone numbers, customers' email addresses, if you're trying to market, or even location if you're trying to deliver. So it's not limited. This is a tool that is very simple, very straightforward, and it would basically be able to be able to answer and use it across basically any other platform. But yeah, that's basically everything that I had for you guys for today. Tomorrow, that's when we'll go into the nitty-gritty, basically creating an account, doing the API calls, linking it to different sheets, and then actually having it interact with with your customers and everything. That's when we're going into tomorrow. But today, I really wanted you guys to have a foundation and have a good understanding of the landscape, and basically everything that is happening on the space. So I'll open the floor to anybody with any questions, any concerns, anything like that. Anything that you might want me to maybe cover tomorrow as well, something that you've always been curious about. Let's leave it open, because if we can do that right now, that would be great. So yeah, any questions?
Okay, I think we have a question from Longezo. Okay, I was about to say your mic.
All right. So the software that we're going to use to build the chatbot is called VoiceFlow. Mostly because the reason why I chose VoiceFlow is that it has a free tier, so it's easier for you guys to follow along with me, and also you guys can interact with it. And if you have any issues, any concerns, you can reach out and then just go through it together. And yeah, and I'd also encourage you guys for tomorrow. If you're going to be building along with me, really let me know that you're building along. You can also like more or less present it as well if you would be interested. And I would encourage that because this is like a networking community. I would really love us to build a community of people that are really interested in this space, and to also make sure that we're not left behind as things, as things evolve, as things go forward. Because honestly speaking, here just speaking from my own experience here in Africa, we're really disadvantaged when it comes to these things. And even for me to have my first laptop, it took me a very long time. So right now, the goal would be to really help you guys, and like to really help those who are not aware, and to at least stay above and still be competitive as things evolve, and with the way things are evolving, with the way technology is evolving, you don't necessarily need to be this coding expert for you to still be relevant. Oh, okay. Yeah, the chatbots. No, not just websites. The beauty about the chatbot is that you can use it even for WhatsApp if you want. You can use it, like I alluded earlier, you can use it for phone calls if you want to. As time goes on, maybe with some other workshops or courses, we'll see how the team will arrange things. I can show you all that, but it's not just limited to websites only. That's a great question, Wanjesa. Any other question? Any other question? I have 5 minutes. Any other question before we close for the day and meet up again tomorrow?
Okay, Salva is asking, how can we get certificates? Okay, so certificates will be issued after tomorrow. So we do have, I believe if you registered for the webinar, we have your information already. But if you did not register and we don't have your information, you can simply just put your email address in the chat, and then we can collect your information. And also, just to everyone, I think we're going to send out a communique for you to be able to give us your names, so we have the correct names on the certificates. Okay, so I think there are some other questions there for you, Ian.
Yeah. Difference between an AI agent and chatbot. Okay. This is a very tricky question. Mostly because when you look at chatbots, yeah, it does seem very straightforward. A chatbot is basically what it is. You have a conversation, you have a prompt, somebody types in, and then you have that conversation. That's what a chatbot is. But the tricky part comes with AI agents. AI agents, the way people are putting it on the platform or out there is, okay, you're creating this AI-powered machine that makes life easier, for example, yeah? Maybe it can create blog posts for you, it can do all these things, but that's not necessarily what an AI agent is. I think I can if you'd allow me, I can come up with a more better, like detailed answer for you tomorrow when we have it. But the general idea is an AI agent is basically it's basically like a system that can make AI calls and uses that AI power to make processes. But that's an oversimplification of what like an AI agent really is. So I can give you a more detailed answer for tomorrow. But yeah, that's a really good question. It's especially on the AI agent part, because a lot of people online are just using the word AI agent for everything. It's not necessarily the way they put it out to be. So yeah, an AI agent does work with quite a lot more code than than what it leads on to be. So yeah, I hope I did not disappoint you on that one. What is the schedule for this lesson? I'm sorry. Schedule for this lesson. Okay, from what I understand from this question, you mean we have another workshop tomorrow at the same time. So it's just for today and tomorrow. I don't know if that's what you mean, or you mean the lessons that we have. I'm not sure on what you mean on that question. Are these other workshops? Yeah, for tomorrow's workshop is just going to be us building this chatbot, but we will have other workshops for more things than just the chatbot. The goal is just so that we can stay ahead of what new trends are coming in and whatnot. Maybe at some point we'd also cover what's happening in the AI space, for example, for DeepSeek, because DeepSeek has now made it easy for even countries here in Africa to have our own basic like ChatGPT, because it's completely open source now. So there is a lot that we can cover, and also we're also trying to also build a community of people that are in this space and would also want to maybe change their lives based off of what we're teaching, and give them opportunities to what's out there, maybe even link them to US companies, who knows. So if we can build that community, that would be great. That's like the end goal at the end of all this.
Okay, so we have 1 minute to go. Lonjozo is asking if we are going to give out notes. I think, as I mentioned earlier, this meeting is being recorded. So you're going to get the recording, and you're also going to get the PowerPoint presentation so you can make reference to it. So right now we're on top of the hour, and I think, as Ian has mentioned already, we're going to continue this workshop as well tomorrow. So you can just put all your questions together and just put them in the Q&A section tomorrow, so that it makes it easier. And so we finish on time. We don't want to go over time. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for joining. Thank you so much, Ian. I think that was amazing. We've learned so much, and we're looking forward to an exciting day tomorrow where we actually get into the practical of learning all of this. So I think from all of us at IAM Education, have a lovely evening, have a good night, depending on where you're joining us from, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right. Bye, guys.